So there we go. Fabulous. So here we are on Wednesday, workshop day, and we're looking at we've gone on a journey so far of learning how to hypnotize and how to take people into trance and how to use direct suggestion um, within that. And also when you're doing inductions, when taking people into hypnosis, anything you tell somebody to do is a direct suggestion. So, do this, do this, do this. When your fingers come together, relax. That's all direct suggestion. Um, so what we're going to do now is we're going to drift from the direct suggestion, kind of sometimes described as the mallet approach, because it's like bang, 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 chisel it away, hammer it in, um, to the Ericksonian conversational approach. And I'm going to start this actually with um, a couple of minutes video clip of Milton Erickson himself. Milton Erickson was a American hypnotherapist, psychotherapist as well, and he he really pioneered and transformed the world of hypnosis. He Fascinating character. I can't remember. I think ages ago we might have sat down and watched his documentary on a kind of shared view thing. I can't remember, but there is a documentary about him called Wizard of the Desert, which is about an hour or so long. It's not huge, but it is fascinating. As a young lad, he got struck with polio, and he clearly remembered being on the bed with his mom and the doctor talking at the entranceway to his bedroom, and the doctor saying, "Prepare yourself. I don't think he's going to make the night." And he decided there and then that he was going to make the night, and no doctor was going to tell him anything different. And he did. And by this point, he was paralyzed. He couldn't move at all, completely bedridden. And he slowly, over a period of many months, began to use his mind to regain his mobility. So he would literally just lie there imagining what it used to be like to move his fingers and his toes. And then one day he noticed that his finger moved. And so he carried on doing it and doing it until he got almost most of his mobility back. And about 3 or 4 months later, went on a solo kayaking expedition down some river somewhere. So amazing character. Actually, then got struck by polio later on in his life as well, which is why on this clip, he's getting on a bit in this clip as well, but his speech is a little gravelly, it's a little slurry. Uh, and you'll know from the other sessions I've said when it comes to hypnosis, just use your voice. But you quite often, certainly if you hang around with hypnotists, you can notice those who've been listening to Milton Erickson because there's a tendency to mimic how he speaks with certain phrases, which is completely unnecessary. So before we even watch this, do not ever feel that you need to speak. And the moment you'll hear it, you'll notice that the pattern and rhythm that you may have heard with other hypnotists, but they'll put on the gravelly voice and everything else with it as well. And it's completely not necessary. So let me just set this up to share. There we go. And I'm sharing this and some sound. So do we now have a blank white screen for everyone? Spot on. This, I mean, there's a series of books of his collective works. There's about 18 of them. They're all about 50 quid each. I'm slowly acquiring them. They're not all easy to get either. But I love the way I love the Ericksonian approach. It's wonderful. Ericksonian approach, rather than having to set up all these parameters and do all the stuff we've looked at so far, allows you to take people in and out of trance relatively simply, relatively easily, just by using your conversation. When it's done, overtly. It's very effective. It can also and is used covertly. So some of the stuff that we're going to look at, um, I know Fee actually realized that some of it she was doing already when she was teaching. Um, Salespeople, we'll touch on this later on. Salespeople will use hypnotic language. It's taught to salespeople because it's a way of influencing, a way of persuading people. Um, but also, if you learn it, you become a much more effective communicator. So I'm going to shut up and let Milton Erickson do his thing. Give me a thumbs up if the sound's coming through okay. It should be. I think I've clicked everything I need to.
All your life you've known that you would lift your hand and Lord. But there's something you learned long ago, and that was that you couldn't lift your hand. That you didn't know it was your hand. You were an infant, and your hands were just objects. And one of the first things that a person does when he goes into a trance, he looks at someone's spot, doesn't need to move, doesn't need to talk, doesn't need to do anything except let his unconscious mind take over and do everything. And the conscious mind doesn't have to do anything. It's usually not even interested. And while I've been talking to you, you've altered your respiration. Your heart rate is altered. I know from past experience that your blood pressure has changed. Your pulse has changed. And your eyelid reflexes change. And you really don't need to keep your eyes open. But you can close them now. Where a plotter is learning to get acquainted with yourself at another level of being. So first of all, I'd like to have you enjoy the covered. I'd like to have you discover that your sense of covered continually increases.
So that was Milton Erickson demonstrating within a couple of minutes how you can literally talk somebody into trance. He's not telling them directly to go into hypnosis. He's not doing any of the stuff it, that that we've looked at so far. But you can see from the start of the clip, the guy's focus shifting changes to that point where he's still got his eyes open, but he's definitely zoned out. And that point when his eyes close, and it's all done with conversation. And we're going to look at start off with, like we've done with the hypnosis, some fundamentals of this, and then we'll come back to it later on, again, to go deeper into it. The main difference with the Ericksonian conversational hypnosis is, like I've already said, really, whereas when we're using direct hypnosis, it's direct. You're going to do this, you're going to do that, do this, do that, do that, do that, go into sleep, go into trance, and we're telling that's what's happening. There is no choice. You will follow my instructions. And it's very much what you see when you see a stage show. In a moment, you'll open your eyes. You're going to think you're a gorilla. You're going to jump around the stage like a monkey or whatever they tell them. It's very direct. You will, you will, you will. And it's kind of more where that idea of hypnosis becoming kind of a control thing comes from, because outwardly that looks very, very controlling. Um, Ericksonian hypnosis, on the other hand, is very permissive. So rather than telling people you will do this, you will do that, you're giving them choices. You're giving them options, but you also stack the deck so much in your favor that you can't fail. Um, so, for instance, few phrases. Um, you can go into hypnosis quickly or slowly. You can go into hypnosis quickly or slowly. And you may find yourself sinking into that chair, or you can just relax where you are. So there's some choices, there's some options. How are you going to do this? Let's go your way. How do you want to do this? And I say, set it up as though you can't fail. Offer a mix of choices. There are certain words, and there's as we know, there is a whole Bible of hypnotic words. Uh, but to start off with, you don't need that many. Um, the word may, so you may go into hypnosis, you may begin to relax, you may begin to feel yourself drifting. You might begin to relax now. You might find yourself drifting and floating as you're listening to my voice. Perhaps your unconscious mind can take over whilst your conscious mind may let go. Pretend and imagine. So five words. May, might, perhaps, pretend, and imagine. And also, actually, I'm going to throw could in there. So it could be that you start to relax now. It might be that you notice yourself letting go. And it poses a question to the person listening. It might be. Because if I go to you, you are relaxing. You go, no, I'm not. Or you go, yes, I am. It's a real dead ender, isn't it? Whereas you might notice that you're beginning to relax. You're just like, am I? Am I starting to relax? I don't know. So it opens it up and it opens up for that expanding. Um, one of the wonderful ways you can use this is, and I love this phrase. I remember the first time I heard it, and I was just like, it's a hypnosis nerd thing, I guess. But I just love this sentence. So, in fact, actually, just have a listen to this and just go follow on. So, what I want you to do is pretend, yeah, pretend you are going into a light trance. Just pretend you're going into a light trance. And now pretend you're not pretending anymore. I love that phrase. I love that sentence. Pretend you're doing something. I used that actually way back. If you way back in the early I meditate days when we were doing the meditation, I'm pretty sure there was a session where I said, all I want to do is sit there and just pretend, imagine you are the world's greatest meditator. And now pretend you're not pretending, or imagine you're not imagining. And they're really, it's subtle, but dropped into conversation, dropped into, and you don't have to use tons of this. You could use that one on pretend you're going to go and do the washing up, and now pretend you're not pretending. Um, another another phrase, and you'll have heard me use it and variation on it, is that's right. Yeah, the big nods there. That's right. That's right is one of the most powerful phrases in hypnosis. It's what they call a universal amplifier. I'm dropping out all the buzzwords and the tech talk because we don't need that. But this is known as a universal amplifier because basically it's said in response to what someone does, whatever that is. And in doing so, it amplifies the trance state. It amplifies the relaxation or the hypnosis. And to use it, you just have to be observant. Like we actually saw, I'm sure I heard Erickson say it in that clip, and there was that point where he was like, "And as you've been listening to me, and as we've been talking, your um, your heart, your breathing has changed, your heart rate has slowed down." And these are just observations. He knows that as somebody's relaxing, these things will happen, and the unconscious mind knows these things will happen. And so what happens is you observe, you notice. So if you're talking to somebody and you notice that they maybe they're starting to relax, or as they get comfortable and you've been talking to them for a moment, and they might go and do a bit of a sigh and just sink down a bit. So you pick up on it and go, that's right. As you take that deep breath now, you can continue to relax. As you're looking at the screen, blinking through your glasses, you can continue to relax. That's right. And so all I'm doing there is I'm looking at what's going on, and I could see Susan was blinking her eyes, and she's looking through her glasses. So I tie what she's doing into the fact that it's part of the trance, it's part of the hypnosis, and I tell her that's right. Um, so what we're going to do, we're going to break out with this. I'm just thinking, let's break it up a bit. So we're going to go into, make sure I've said everything I need to. Oh, we'll go into that bit next. Let me make a mark of where I've got to. Um, oh, hang on, that's there. Cool. And then I know where they're hot on that bit. So what I'm going to do and do the breakout rooms. Obviously, I'm going to have to partner up with someone. And for the first exercise, make sure you can see the screen clearly, so you'll be able to see everyone, see the person you're working with, and you're literally just going to observe what they're doing. Just watch what they're doing for a little while, and then it'll be like I did with the glasses. At some point, just go, "That's right." You should just play with your jaw and tongue in your mouth a little bit, and begin to smile. You just relax a little bit more. That's right. As you're moving your glasses, I wonder what it's like to let go. And just get that feeling of observing and then just using "that's right" and tying it into the action. Yeah. Um, as the person who's been observed, it can feel a little odd being watched and just having that mirrored back to you. But pay attention to how it's feeling as don't need lots of words for this. Just "that's right." As you look away from your screen, you can relax. As you're blinking, or even just "that's right." Just as you're blinking, relaxing. So short little phrases, little bits, just observing what's going on, using "that's right." If you're the person doing the observing and the speaking, just get a feel for it. If you're the person that's being observed, and just, listen to what's being said and just notice how you feel as we do this. So let me sort the breakout rooms. Let's do it automatically, because then we never know where's going or who's going where. Da-da-da. Fabulous. I'm getting quicker at that now. See, I'll let you know when we're done. Um, so let me just pin that back up. There we go. So you don't have to worry about cameras and things. Right. Yes. So let's reverse back, because I did forget. Thank you to press record. A lot's been said about rapport and how we build that connection when we're conversing with people. Uh, Very simply, just be yourself. Be yourself. Be interested in people. That's usually enough to build a bit more of a connection. But one of the things that Milton Erickson used to do um, is he would literally offer back that person's language. So if someone said, "Oh, do you know what? I'm feeling a little anxious today," they wouldn't turn around and go, "Oh, you're feeling worried and stressed," because that's like interpreting what that person's saying. But what he'd say is that if someone said, "Oh, I'm feeling a little anxious today," he'd say, "I understand you're feeling a little anxious and shaky today." So he would reflect back what they've presented, but then also amplify it, which really then gives a sense of, and you can do this in, you can practice this at any time in conversation with people, and it's quite amazing. You'll notice a difference in the person almost immediately as to how they focus with you and engage with you. Um, but also they'll be like, "Yeah, how do you know that?" And it's like, "Well, you've just told me." Yeah, reflective listening. Um, but it's really good. And but when we start using somebody's own words from the hypnotic perspective, not only are we building that bridge between us and them, but we start stepping into their world. So the best way I can illustrate the importance of stepping into somebody else's world um, is I was at a well-being festival a few years ago. I think it was pre-COVID now. Can't remember quite when it was. Um, and it was a great little festival. Very, a bit different to the ones I was used to because they all kind of went to bed at about 11 o'clock. It was strange. But, they all needed their beauty sleep. So I went to this little festival, and the one day a chap comes up to me, introduced himself to have a natter, and he said, "Do you do regressions?" And I kind of went into the kind of ins and outs of how I see it and what we believe happens with regressions and stuff. I said, why is that? And he said, "Well, I I was kidnapped by aliens and I want to go back and remember it because they've blanked my memory."
So I've just turned my phone off. It's
Yeah, if I was to turn around and go, "Right, yeah, okay." Kidnapped by aliens, mate. All right. um, I'm not building rapport. I'm not going to be. Whereas, that idea of that experience could be a key to some sort of transformation for that person, could be a key for them. Maybe there's something that's happened in their life that they're finding really difficult to deal with if they think about it directly. But the metaphor of being kidnapped by aliens allows them to create a distance from it and then deal with it. Um, which has always been my thing with past life work is if we because we understand more about how memory works and how hypnosis works now than we ever have before, to say that you can hypnotize someone to go into a past life that's actually a real past life is really, you're skating on a very thin ledge of reality. Um, the fact is that because the way the mind works, it stores little bits of pieces and fills in the gaps. Um, so there is no way of knowing that that is a definite past life. But you wouldn't if somebody said, "Oh, I've got this problem. I'm always struggling with the X. Um, can we do some past life regression work to deal with it? Because I feel that's what I need to do." Well, you don't turn around and go, "No, you don't." You go, "Okay, let's do that." And if they were Cleopatra and Cleopatra once got scratched by a tiger, but now they have a fear of cats, um, if you work with that, or even they go, someone comes to you and go, "I was Cleopatra in a past life, but I got scratched by a tiger that used to live in my palace, and it's manifest now in this life as a fear of cats. Can we work with that?" Yeah. Come on, Cleo, let's go. You stepping into their world, you use their language. If somebody perceives the world, if someone comes to you who's really devoutly religious, you can work within a religious framework. If somebody is a complete atheist, you can work within an atheist framework. But working from a religious perspective with an atheist is never going to work, and probably vice versa. So by mirroring and giving back, offering back the language, but embellishing it a little bit, amplifying it, helps us build that connection. So that's all I want to say on that. So here, what we're going to, I love these. We're going to look briefly now at, I've put triple, but triple's going to be, you'll get the gist just off this too. We're going to look at the double bind. And that's what we're going to finish up with today, a double bind. All of you have been on the hypno journeys, and the hypno journey is one double bind after another, or sometimes a triple bind after another. Um, a double bind is a wonderful piece of linguistics that gives the illusion of choice. Gives the illusion of choice. However, either choice will lead you where I want you to go. You see this with sales. They'll go, do you want to purchase it now, or do you want to go away and think about it before you purchase it? So it sounds like I've given you a choice, but actually what I've said, whether it's now or in the future, you're going to purchase it, you know. Um, Classic one with Ericsson would be he'd have two chairs by his desk. Person would come into his office. Do you want to sit down in the hypnosis chair, or do you want to sit down in the trance chair? I.e., don't matter which chair you're going in, you are going into hypnosis. Um, and I love double binds. You can use them, you can use them to if people maybe are struggling a bit eating. I saw an example of this the other day. Someone's partner was struggling a little bit as far as eating. Their kind of appetite was a bit low. They weren't finding themselves wanting to eat. And they just turned around and said, would you rather a sandwich now or a snack later? And they went, "Oh, I'll have a sandwich now." And I go, that's right. Um, you know, they've not really given them a choice, but our minds negate that when we're given these options. They go, "Oh, a choice. Oh, actually, I'll go. I fancy that." Um, so some of the times within I meditate, you'll hear it. It'll be like, I don't know if you're going to go and relax even more now, or whether it'll be in a few breaths' time when you begin to relax even more. So what am I saying is I'm saying you're going to relax, whether it's now or in a moment. You know, will you go into trance quickly, or you could go into trance quickly, or you can go into trance slowly. Is a double bind. It feels like you've got a choice, but actually, trance, the ultimate goal, is where we're heading. And the good old that's right to amplify that fact once they've made that choice. So we choose to experiment with this tomorrow when you're in conversations, or will you wait until the weekend before you start to experiment with this? And when you go to bed tonight, will you go to bed and have a good night's sleep, falling asleep quickly, or you take a little longer before you fall to sleep to have a good night's sleep? It feels like a choice. But actually, what I'm saying is you'll have a good night's sleep. Um, so what I'm going to do to finish up today's session, we'll do one more short breakout room, and we're going to bring everything together. So you're going to start with a double bind. Your double bind is going to be something along the lines of, you get to the screen. I'm just wondering, will you relax, close your eyes and feel good? quickly, or you're going to relax, close your eyes, and feel good a little more slowly. That's right. And then break into the observational, reflecting back. And it really can be, that's right, just relaxing. That's right. Yeah. To the point where we get the eyes closed. Because once your eyes close and that person's kind of looking relaxed and calm and focused inside, you've got light trance. And the majority of change work, of transformational work within hypnosis, um, takes place in that light trance space. Um, Again, some people talk about levels and depths of hypnosis, kind of going, some have scales of 56 levels down. Um, Others talk about it being intensity. So is it a mildly intense experience or is it a really intense experience? I prefer the intensity idea, rather than feeling you've got to achieve and be somewhere. It's just you're having a mild experience of hypnosis or you're having a really intense experience of hypnosis. Um, so I wonder as you do this, whether you'll find it easy straight away or whether it'll be once you've done a few bits before you find it easy. But let's form the see, there you go. That's why just you can drop it in anywhere. You know, be cheeky with it. I'm wondering if you'll buy me that free pint now, whether you'll wait until I've finished this before you buy me that free pint. You know, because there's a penguin in Antarctic tap dancing. Oh yeah, yeah. That's right. Um, so you can have a lot of fun with this. Obviously, and one of the and you see this when people are learning this, it could be tempting, and it can easily, if you're really getting into it, you can lose the art of normal conversation for a little while, and it can see happy feet. That's it. Um, so rather than trying to like experiment with it all at once, pick one bit and play around with it for a couple of days, any chance. And you can use this like in emails as well. Not so much that that's right, but a double bind. So I don't know if you're going to get back to me this morning or whether it'll be this afternoon that you will get back to me. But whenever you get back to me today, that would be great. That's technically a triple bind because we're going, whether it's this morning, whether it's and it will be today. So you can layer and layer them on, but a double to triple bind is usually enough. And you can create a lot of change in somebody. So imagine you're talking to someone and they're a bit down, they're struggling with a bit of something. I wonder whether you're going to feel better as we're talking about this, or whether it'll be a little bit after we've finished talking about this that you can begin to feel better about it. And so you've double bound them. It's like you're either going to feel better about this as we're chatting, or you'll feel better later on in the day. So you can use especially the double bind in many situations where you don't even necessarily need hypnosis or trance. That's the beauty of this stuff. You don't need the to use it. Right, let's break out and let's do the thing. Yeah. Let's not recreate anything. It's the same. Two. There we go. See you on the other side. So that is us finished for today. Practice these things as and where you can. You don't have to be doing full trance with people. You can literally experiment within just your general conversations and have fun doing so. See you again.